First Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
Happy Friday, everybody. If you were up bright and early this morning before sunrise, Robert, you might have gotten to see a pretty cool phenomenon out there in the sky today, huh?
Phenomena is my favorite meteorological word, by the way. It just sounds cool. The sky was out there winking at the First Coast here on our Friday. We had the moon in its nice little crescent shape, Venus, the bright one on the top there, and that little dot kind of in the middle right of the screen was Saturn. And it was this smile face conjunction was the technical name for it. And if you missed it, too bad. You missed it. It's a one-day event.
Now, do we know how often this happens?
It's
not to put. If you don't know, that's fine. I don't know.
So I don't know exactly in this particular situation. I'm sure this particular situation is rare, but we do get conjunctions from time to time. We had one kind of similar to this about 5 years ago, which there was Venus and Jupiter and the moon were all kind of in the same spot, and it looked really cool. But one that has like the smile face to it, I'm sure if you missed it, it's probably going to be sometime. And also, this was only an East Coast phenomena. If you were located in Europe or in China, you weren't able to see it because it all depended on the rotation of the Earth and how it matched up with the moon and Venus and Jupiter out there. So a pretty little special sight if you're into astro science, I suppose.
Very cool. So we started the morning off with a bright smile. Travis Hunter flying into Jacksonville today. Another bright spot. We got lots of sunshine out there today as well.
And not to get too far off of topic with Travis Hunter here, but I remember you were saying the other day if what would be one of the big surprises. And I remember you saying his name, and I don't know much about it, but I do remember you saying that would be a big surprise if Jacksonville was able to pull that. And there you go.
Yeah, it was a surprise I did not expect them to make. Now, I will give Andy credit behind the curtain here. He told Tim and I yesterday, and I think Anthony as well, that it was a possibility. That's who the Jags, there was a rumor going around that they were going to trade up with the Browns to select Travis Hunter. I personally didn't believe it, so to tip my hat to the Browns today, I wore my dark brown suit and my orange tie to thank Cleveland for gifting us with the second overall pick. So a little nod to the Cleveland Browns fans out there.
Also, I went with sports today. I put on my blue.
For the Iceman?
But it's more of like in remembrance after their...
did they lose last night?
Oh, yeah, they lost. In overtime.
Again?
4-0 sweep in overtime every single game. So at least it's not as... I feel like that's more painful. I would have rather just been blown out because each game it was kind of like...
Yeah, you're so close every single time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I grew up watching a lot of hockey. I don't know if I've ever heard of that happening in any series I watched. And I watched a lot of NHL, but even still, to lose 0-4, but in overtime every single time.
I was curious if that's some sort of record because it had. And plus, this is the fourth year straight the Everblades have knocked the Icemen out of the playoffs, which is just even extra brutal.
The Achilles heel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so... I digress. Not weather related. We keep on getting the sports talk in here. But actually, I think the fact that we are talking about sports does show, and you can see it right there, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
If we had thunderstorms, we wouldn't be talking about, the first round draft for the Jags.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, we got some high clouds rolling in over there. A few cumulus kind of bubbling up, but really, just a dry night here once again. Any inland storms that might develop are going to be well to the west and northwest of the Waycross area. So again, we have no rain or thunderstorm concerns this evening. It is still a pretty warm Friday night, but that easterly flow has continued all day long. So that's going to pin any storms that do far up, even probably west of I-75 and out towards the Gulf Coast. So a very, very nice Friday evening. Perhaps you're going out to watch the Jumbo Shrimp take on the Gwinnett Stripers again here tonight. First pitch 7:05. Looks like a good night to watch the fireworks out there, Robert.
Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful evening. Sunset. First pitch, you said 7:05. I think today is Red Shirt Day.
Okay.
I think that's supposed to be for military. I don't know how those two connect, but Hey, wear a red shirt. I'm not quite sure which you get.
I think they have $2. Is it $2?
Oh yeah, it is.
Lights?
Or
it's something.
Friday Light.
Yeah.
Friday Night Lights. I think that's what their promotion is.
LITES.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Friday Night Lights. So extra. Yeah.
So overall, great night to go watch some baseball. Really, just any outdoor plans you have. Tomorrow morning, a very, very similar story to what we've seen here every single night/morning this week. You wake up, temperature's going to be on the mild side yet again, mid to upper 60s. And then actually tomorrow, Robert, we do expect it to be a little bit warmer than what we have seen here the past 2 or 3 days. We've been in the mid 80s for highs. Tomorrow, expecting that to be at least 2 or 3 degrees warmer.
It's not just the heat, though. Something I keep on trying to remind people about this time of year, too, is that if you are going to be heading out to the coast and you want to kind of cool off or something like that, you might think it's April. You don't have to worry so much about UV rays or the sun or anything like that. Do remember that our sun angle right now, about 54 degrees. I know that doesn't make much sense for most people, but the point is it's the same sun angle that we see in August. So if you think August is like summertime, you have to put on sunblock if you're going to be heading out there for any activities. April matches up with August. So with that said, just make sure you cover up if you got the sensitive skin like me, which I'm wearing makeup right now. I am sunburned still from last weekend when I went out there, and this is why I'm regurgitating this information because I
learned your lesson.
Yes, I learned my lesson. I went home and I was burnt, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should share my pain with other people and so they can avoid it. But also you got here the risk of rip currents. Before we get too far along here, and if you have that image in there of the funnel cloud, did you put that in here?
I don't have it in, no.
Hey, at 5:30, Ross is going to talk about it here.
At 6 o'clock tonight,
6 o'clock.
actually. Yep.
Excuse me, 6 o'clock. Ross is going to talk about it. We actually had a funnel cloud off the coast of Michler's Landing yesterday.
Yeah.
There in St. Johns County. It looked like a fair weather funnel cloud. But can you explain real quick, Ross, what is a fair weather water spout or funnel cloud?
Yes, when you get a big kind of temperature difference in between the water temperatures and the air aloft. So water temperatures in the surf right now, anywhere between about 74, 75 degrees. You have some much cooler air aloft, and then kind of some backing wind. So at the surface, you have southeast flow. Aloft, you have a little bit more of a westerly or northwesterly flow. So that kind of adds to some wind shear, vertical wind shear. So the winds at the surface are kind of going in an opposite direction of the winds aloft in the atmosphere. So you combine that with the temperature change and variation, you can sometimes get these little weak funnel clouds or,
and they're not,
water spouts that try to develop. It wasn't a water spout.
They're not supercells. And I've seen, it's not recommended, but I've seen videos of people driving their boats through them. Bad day for most because that's probably going to toss you off. But my point is they're usually on the EF0 side of things where it's really windy, but it's not going to cause significant damage if it comes ashore or something like that.
So despite the quiet weather yesterday, there was, at least something interesting always going on out there. Yesterday was a perfect example of that.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow, and I seen you had your future cast up here. Tomorrow, what do you think about rain? I mean, I know we were discussing this offline here.
Yeah.
There's a chance, as Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber says, so you're telling me there's a chance.
Yeah. So I have 2 separate models in. I'm not 100% sure which one this is.
This looks like that is the HRRR.
Yeah, so this is the latest run of the HRRR, as Robert said, the HRRR. Looking kind of for some sea breeze convergence. So overall, the pattern through, I would say, up until lunchtime for most of the I-95 corridor, wind's going to be out of the south generally. So we're not going to have as much of an onshore flow throughout the day. Because of that, the Gulf Coast breeze is going to come a little bit further eastward. And then as you get into, the mid to latter portions of the afternoon, the Atlantic and East Coast sea breeze finally begins to work its way inland. It does look like there will be at least enough heating and moisture content and just instability to perhaps see some isolated scattered showers and thunderstorms try to develop. So it looks like Highway 301, Robert, might be the area that we're going to be watching for that convergence between the 2 sea breezes. And then because the winds aloft, anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000 feet aloft, are generally coming out of the west, it looks like any storm that does develop could kind of just drift back east back closer to perhaps downtown or I-95, Jacksonville even. So, yeah, certainly something to watch. Now, not all the models are showing this, like I said. Another one here, this is our in-house model, kind of showing something a little bit different tomorrow afternoon. It has it much further inland and a little bit weaker.
Yeah, and I guess it really, I do agree with the fact that the flow should push us from west back to east, because the mid to upper level flow is definitely there. It just really depends on how much moisture we get there. And yeah, even this picks it up. It picks up development a little bit further west and drifts it back towards the east. Yeah, the humidity is there for sure. We are definitely getting into that time of year where these afternoon showers and thunderstorms in this type of setup can become more common, especially with the sea breeze. So between 301 and I-75 tomorrow, some isolated showers. Yeah, I think that definitely is in the cards. Now, Ross, I don't think this is going to be widespread rain, though. Like, not everybody's going to get it.
Yeah, I don't expect everyone to see it. And even that 40 to 60% kind of strip I put in there to kind of encompass areas west of Highway 17 and Highway 301, that's really just to kind of show you, again, where that sea breeze convergence could potentially be at tomorrow. Not necessarily saying everyone in there is going to get rain, but that might be the area we watch for, 2 or 3 storms start to fire up tomorrow afternoon before they gradually work their way back east. So,
and for those of you watching, it will be your barbecue at your house that it rains on.
That's how it always works, right?
that's how it always works. Hey,
there it is.
Look at Andy. Oh, you're on top of this. Did you just pull this right off our Weather Watchers page? Yeah.
Some quick work back there.
So, yeah, this is a fair weather funnel cloud. Now, you know how we can tell it didn't touch the water? Because there would be a kind of spray coming up near the surface, and we're not seeing that. But, our weather watcher did post on here and said, there's a strange looking funnel. And that is a telltale fair weather funnel cloud. And also you say fair weather because this is definitely not a thunderstorm. I mean, look at it. It's blue skies out there. But we can see something like this in towering cumulus. It's a lot more common down in the Keys. I mean, in the Keys, they get stuff like this every other day. But here, it happens from time to time. We get these fair weather funnel clouds. And if that did pop off a water spout, it probably would stay offshore. Unless you're in a dinghy with a sailboat, in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've seen one video of somebody driving through one of these. Very dumb. Most of the time I've seen a water spout out to sea in a big ship. And I went on the bridge and told the officer of the deck, and I was like, "You see that?" And they're like, "Yeah." And it was a young ensign. Shout out to the ensigns out there straight out of the academy. He's like, "What should we do?" And I was like, "Go the other way.
Yeah, don't go toward it."
Like, okay. And like, good stuff. Good stuff.
You would think that would just be common sense, but perhaps not for the young guns out there.
Hey, you're asking for the weather forecaster's advice. I was keen on it. Thanks for trusting the meteorological team in the United States Navy. But steer away from water spouts, please.
Your advice for the weekend.
Yes, you're welcome. For the upcoming boat show, I have a stand set up and everything. It says, "Don't drive in the water spouts." That's a joke, guys. By the way, don't be looking for me out there. All right, so what do we got going on for Sunday?
It looks like we're going to have another chance for rain then, Robert. So tomorrow, kind of isolated chances. Sunday, perhaps slightly higher as our latest wind shift. And I really don't even want to call it a cold front, just kind of a weak backdoor front tries to swing on in from the north and northeast. So you will notice, especially by late Sunday afternoon and even more so into the evening, that wind shift kind of working its way in, and that will bring the chance for some showers and stuff. But before the front arrives, probably the hottest day we've seen over the past week or so, Robert, low, perhaps mid-90s for inland areas. A steamy, toasty way to end the weekend.
So
here.
What's the steaminess, too? What do you think about our heat index? Probably mid-90s as well.
Yeah, mid to maybe even upper 90s for some of the inland locations, kind of Stark, Keystone Heights. It's going to be a sweaty one out there.
So you'll be hoping it rains in your neighborhood on Sunday. Just one, because we're dry. We need the rain, And 2, it helps cool things off here. What are we looking at now? Still the IBM looking through what, Sunday?
Yeah, so this is Sunday late I guess it started in the afternoon, but now moving into the evening hours. The timing of this front's probably going to play a key role, Robert. And one, what time we actually see rain. I think that's kind of the obvious thing. But also, if it's a little bit later in the evening, if it's after dinner time, do we not see as much either heavy rainfall or thunderstorms? You kind of lose a little bit of the instability in daytime heating after the sun goes down, and it looks like the IPM's kind of started to shift that way a little bit. Has that been the trend from earlier today, or
earlier? This is pretty much matches up what we were seeing earlier. Right closer to sunset, it kind of weakens out here, and then starts to pick things back up by Monday morning. But I'm not really seeing I'm not seeing any significant thunderstorms, though, with this, for at least the first coast. I think our big thing with this whole front, and not to get ahead of you, is the fact that it is going to change those winds in from the north, more of an onshore breeze, cloud cover. So Monday, we're probably going to be seeing some things cool off here. But, yeah, this looks about right for Sunday afternoon. Those showers kind of tapering off, weakening, coming in from the north. Good graphic here, Ross.
Yeah, and I certainly wouldn't cancel any outdoor plans that you have. Again, this is going to be coming in from the north, so southeast Georgia folks, you're going to have the first chance to perhaps see some scattered showers. And then, for Jacksonville and areas south of I-10, probably closer to dinner time and even, shortly thereafter. But yeah, I agree. Oh, I did not change the temperature on that. That's my bad there.
That's not a cool down.
Well, let's go to there we go. Let's go to the 7-day to give you a better idea. So yes, we'll see a nice cool down there on Monday into the low 80s. And then, as you mentioned, kind of another chance for some more rain on the way.
Do you know what today is, Ross, by the way? What's today's date?
It is...
It's the 25th of April. Now let's play a game where we find out how old Ross is, or if you know your 90s movie trivia.
Oh no.
So
does it have something to do with like Paris Bueller's Day Off or Ferris
no?
Bueller's
Actually,
Day Off?
that's early 90s here.
Okay.
No, I'm thinking of you ever hear the quote? What's your favorite date? And it's April 25th. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. All you need is a light sweater.
No, when is that? Where
That's
is that?
from Miss Congeniality.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a Sandra Bullock movie, right?
That's a Sandra Bullock movie. And
not
William
that
Shatner asked that question to Miss Rhode Island.
So in the pageant?
Yeah, in the pageant. Please, it's a movie. It's not reality, but please describe. So every April 25th, I think about that. Like, please describe your favorite date? She says, my favorite date is April 25th. Huh. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. All you need is a nice sweater. So that's today. Today's good weather out there. A little hot, but for the first coast, I think we're right on par of where we should be. What's our average right now?
High is supposed to be average 82, and the lows average is 58, I believe.
So a little bit above average, but it's not too hot. I think Sunday we're starting to get into too hot territory.
Yeah. And as of late, the afternoon highs are much closer to average than the morning lows have been.
Yeah.
We've only been getting down to the 63, 64 most days this week, and the average low is supposed to be in the upper 50s. So that's kind of the thing that makes our average temperature for the day significantly higher.
Well, overall comfortable. At least it's not raining a lot, although we do need the rain. What's the I-4 corridors in a drought, though? They need the rain.
Yeah, I-4 pretty much from Daytona Beach down to Orlando, and not just them. South Florida down towards the Everglades, very, very dry. They have not only moderate but extreme drought conditions really starting to set in here. So wildfires continuing to be a big concern through the weekend and even into next week. Especially this weekend, you can bind the heat with the very, very dry conditions.
And then I'm sure people are going to be out there camping.
Yes.
And it's especially once you get these warmer conditions, some people just might not be thinking.
Yeah.
And remember, these fires can spread pretty quickly, especially on, I think, Sunday, because we're going to get a nice little south wind in here. So if we do get anybody like just burning things and the ashes start flying around, that could spread up things pretty quickly too.
Won't take much.
Mm-hmm. So
the other thing you mentioned, what today is Isn't it also National Arbor Day?
It
Robert?
is Arbor Day.
You put together a whole story on this,
I
right?
did, didn't I? Got to go out there and hug a tree. My story is actually on less tree hugging, more about tree cutting or planting around power lines. Just reminding people, if you buy like a nice tree at Home Depot or the local greenhouse or something, don't plant it under a power line because the tree will eventually grow. And also, if you do have a large tree near a power line, the rule is 10 feet. So if you're going to be trimming your trees, hire somebody, or you can dial 811. Florida Power and Light will come out and inspect it and give you kind of an idea of how to trim up the tree around the power lines and things like that.
And that actually goes hand in hand with a story I'm putting together for our hurricane special. I was up in Waycross on Tuesday, and I was talking with their city manager, Ulysses Rayford, and he was actually talking about that very thing, that the city has to go around kind of each year and try to trim up or either take down some of the older trees that are either by power lines or transformers. But he was also saying, one of their big messages that they're trying to get out to residents is that if you have a tree that's near a power line, it is important for you to take care of that, because not only could you lose power, but your neighbors could, and folks a mile or two down the road could also be getting power or telephone from that exact same line. So if it goes down, then everyone downstream from there, is affected by it. So
Waycross is the spot to know about that. My goodness, last year so many trees fell down out there. And that's for our hurricane special, debuting on June 1st, by the way.
Yeah, so something to look forward to.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Hopefully we get our Emmy for this year.
Working toward it.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a great hurricane special. It's all about on your side, getting not because we could sit here until we're blue in the face saying hurricane bad, hurricane windy. We're going out and talking, as Ross was just saying, talking to people that were impacted directly by this storm that are not meteorologists, that are just like, whoa, it was windy out, and hearing their stories.
So, that is coming at the end of the month, start of June. Until then, though, enjoy the weekend. We'll have more info on those rain chances this weekend. But for now, take care, guys.
Bye.